It's Off Exit 10, presented by Capital District Sport and Fitness.
Like here, that's like the new version of like Good Lady Who, like back in the day. Yeah.
No. Do re mi fa sol la si.
But the pre-workout energy drink industry, like when we first got into it, it was just like powders, right? You just put the powder in, you shake it up, and that was that.
Well,
Yeah, I was in college.
When
Yeah.
it was pre-workout, like you were talking just pre-workout. There's obviously Monster and Red Bull, like
Right.
that was around. But then like the pre-workout stuff, you had like the C4,
I was
Jack
gonna
3D.
say C4 is it, and
Right.
Jacked. Yeah, Jack
You know,
was,
Jack 3D was like the big one that got banned forever
that was
because
a little rough.
it was a little intense. Some illegal substances in there.
Yeah, how do you deal with that with kids? Because kids come in chugging those now, and I'm like, we know it's not good for you. You don't, as a 14, 15-year-old kid, like you don't need
yeah.
300, you don't need 200, 300 milligrams.
Yeah.
We probably don't either, but we do it just because we're not getting our sleep, and we probably should be. But we never talk to the kids about it in here. I'd be like, dude, it's like not great for you. It's so ingrained, I feel like, just in their day-to-day and their routine.
It's like cool to do kind of thing. I just have a bev.
Right.
I think that is part of it, though. I think it is like
100%.
it's the cool thing to do. You know, like there's a rhyme and reason of like why I drink and when I drink my caffeine.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas like I feel like I'll get like a middle school 10th grader coming in here at 6 p.m. at night crushing a Ghost energy drink, and I'm like, dude, when are you gonna sleep?
Yeah.
Like you're not gonna sleep tonight. It's just not gonna happen. Like
I've actually never had my athletes drink. They just all bring water.
That's good.
And like
For real?
yeah, straight. Like I've actually felt bad, like this probably like the last 2 months, and it all started like I always had my mentor at my first gym always like said like, yo, don't bring anything you wouldn't like recommend to your clients into the gym. And I was like, damn, but it's also true. Got to live it, So it's like my first like, hey man, like wake the fuck up. You can't just like be talking it and not living it.
Right.
So like the past like few months, I started bringing in like Red Bulls and shit.
And are you starting to see it?
No. But I just felt really weird about it. So I'm just like, yo, y'all, like I would never tell y'all to drink these. And here I am fucking drinking these things. But like I'm fucking like up at 5, here till fucking 10. So it's just like you said, like I'm fucking strategic with it. Like I'll drink it at fucking 3 o'clock almost every day. Because I fucking know like I'm going to need it for fucking like the rest of the day.
Right.
And then from there, like all my athletes just fucking, unless they drink it in the fucking car, like on the way, like
Right.
they're always fucking just coming in, big ass water bottle, and fucking we're getting to it.
That's interesting because a lot of kids bring it in here.
mm-hmm.
You guys also are sponsored by a caffeine company, though.
Yeah, we are. Their nootropic drink. It's like it's not as
not as
stimulant heavy as like
Yeah.
a Bang or a Ghost. But yeah,
I don't see the 300 milligrams as much as we used to, though. Like I don't see Bang in here. I don't see the Rain
Right.
in here. It's more like Celsius or Ghost. Those are the two I feel like we see the most.
I would say that's like I won't say a status thing, but like not, or a fucking like a,
Well,
like you do it because fucking everyone else is doing
yeah,
it.
it's like Starbucks.
Yeah, straight.
Yeah, it's like the same
Do
thing.
you get kids coming in with Starbucks?
I had one girl
we
this
get
year
that all
over
the
this
time.
one college student that was actually from up here.
Okay.
From up here.
Yeah, they love their
Fucking,
Starbucks up here.
And she was like, I was like, yo, do you own a water bottle? She was just like, I usually forget it, but like if I don't, I'll just like go to Starbucks and like, get a refresher. I'm just like, I don't even know what the fuck a refresher is, but all right.
I don't,
Like
I don't either.
Like sounds decent. Like, and she literally came in one day with the fucking refresher. I'm just like, yo, that's not gonna cut it.
No, it's a Clifton Park, Saratoga thing, then for real.
Dude, how many Starbucks are in fucking Del Mar? There's like one.
Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot
I
around
think
here.
there's one. There's like one in Price Chopper. Not
Yeah.
even like an actual Starbucks you can go
I
to.
can think of like I live in East Greenwich. I can think of 3 off the top of my head that are within 5 minutes of my apartment.
Yeah. Access.
5 minutes. Not 2 are across. One's in Target and the other one's across the street.
Just in case you want to go to the drive-thru. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, but you don't realize you have to step back and think how much of an influence, though. You're right. Like, I wouldn't bring something into the gym that the kids wouldn't do. Like, how much of an influence you are on them. Like, any little thing, the way you speak, the way you move, the way you carry yourself. I mean, you're demoing lifts all day. They're mimicking you. It's like, that's a great point.
Yeah.
And it's literally more than, it's like always what you do more than what you say, which is like the generic thing, but like literally through fucking teaching and then through coaching, like they really don't fucking listen. You can fucking demo, explain, have them do it a little bit, and they'll still fuck it up a little bit, you know. But it's all like if you show them what to do, like, oh, all right, cool, and like they'll still fuck it up a little bit, but you just keep showing them, keep demoing. But like a lot of it is like you have to like truly like be, for me anyway, just be the fucking like be that person. That's why like no one asked, but like I'm not playing lacrosse anymore because like for me being able to fucking like be whole to my athlete is much more important than me fucking going and playing a game at this point, which I fucking let's go.
Is that when you had the flip switch to like I'm not going to play competitively anymore after your last injury?
The switch flipped actually last year around like a few weekends ago. Probably like a few weekends ago when there was like a tournament up here in Saratoga.
Mm-hmm.
I broke my thumb. Fucking, I was like in the postseason for like my semi-pro.
What were you playing? Box?
Yeah, box lacrosse.
Okay.
Up in Canada, and fucking we were in the postseason, and like I had a game that weekend, and fucking it was like the weekend. Yeah. So like weekend tournament, and then weekend fucking like finals for fucking our league, and fucking literally I was like, hey man, gonna go play. You know what I mean? I don't need to. Just gonna go fuck around. Like it's not easy for me at this point, but it's just fun. I love playing field because like after playing box, it's like really fun. But anyway, like I was just having a fucking great day. And then fucking literally, it's fucking like fourth quarter, last 10 seconds. You hear the countdown. Every fucking child's dream. I'm fucking just crossing the midline, fucking balls in my twig, and fucking just stepped down and rip it, scored it. And this fucking deep hole just came through with a fucking check right on my thumb. Broke my thumb right away. As soon as he hit it, I'm just like, my fucking thumb just broke. And it started gushing blood. And the ref was like my Pop Warner coach from back in the day. Like he's always been like my ref to like high school and shit like that.
Shout out to Pop Warner football.
Straight. And he's like my guy, Brian Souser. Shout out Brian Souser. And he fucking like he was the ref for like that game. Mm-hmm. And as soon as it broke, I'm like, yo, Seuss, I just broke my thumb, bro. Call the fucking like medic over right now. He's like, dead ass. I'm just like, bro, it's dripping out of my glove. Right then and there, I'm just like, I'm in the fucking postseason, bro. I gotta fucking like actually play a game that matters. I'm just like, these like, hey, for me, like these silly ass tournaments don't fucking matter like right now. Mm-hmm. So I was just like, I'm done doing these tournaments. Like, and then at that point, like I was good to fucking coach and stuff like that, but couldn't really play. And I was just like, damn, like I'm not able to like be of value to my team like I could. Like I carry, at that point, like we were carrying wooden sticks. Like we were playing with like wooden sticks. And they're a little heavy. And like when you fucking throw those things around, like it just radiates all the way through like the stick into your wrist, into your thumb.
It doesn't have like a metal stick. It doesn't have, I'm trying to think the word, like a baseball will have it where it'll stop the vibrations.
It's probably similar to like using a wood bat to a metal bat.
Right.
Yeah. So for me, it was just like, I threw a few checks in that game and just like instantly I'm just like, dude, what the fuck, man? Like I was instantly thinking, like first for a split second I was like, yo, yeah, fuck that one up last weekend. But also I'm just like, yo, we got to figure out how to be of value to your team because I can't really throw a check. And like at that level, you got to throw checks.
Well, do you think too, in terms of you making a living and coaching your athletes and be able to demonstrate, oh shoot. Like,
so like that was like the second switch that flipped. Imagine like you got double light switches in here. Fucking like the double light switch. So the first light switch went on, and the second one went on when fucking like literally kind of the same thing. It was a fucking bum ass scrimmage, fucking up in like Hudson Valley. Wasn't even gonna play. Like I just heard of it and I was just like all right, man. Fucking, I've been like itching to play, like getting that feeling, like yo, like I've been like training my ass off just to like, you know what I mean, just train, feeling bouncy, looking to fucking just go sauce, and then fucking, unfortunately. Same situation, third period. We're playing box now. We're like up in Hudson Valley, the turf, playing box, third period. Literally last shot. I'm trying to think of the spot in the field. Almost the same fucking spot in the field, god damn it.
You gotta stay away from that spot in the field.
Hey, I just love being at the top. Like, hey, just crossing the midfield. And like this team, like we were down a little bit, so I'm like forcing the issue. And fucking like, hey, take a fire shot on the run, jump shot, bury it. And then fucking my man, like another teammate, like team we're playing against is like, dude, like I'm cool with. So he comes through with like a solid hit, and like just the way he's sprinting through, like his knee hit my knee, and like as soon as it hit my knee, I just felt something like pop. So like I couldn't like, I was like flying through the air, like just naturally because of like my jump shot. And at that point, I had to like redirect and land on my back. Landed on my back, went to go like try to straighten my leg, and I was like, nope, that's not fucking working. And then I'm looking up at the sky, kind of like these. I'm just like, dude, are you fucking kidding me? Like, dude, we talked about this before the fucking game. Like, don't come out here, bro. And now we're fucking like sitting here. I'm just like, I thought at that point in time, I thought it was just a like a dislocated kneecap. So I'm just like, all right, fucking pop that shit back in. And then like it wouldn't pop back in. And so the paramedics came. And then I'm like, hey, I'm not trying to go to the hospital, so like y'all put this shit back in now. And they're just like, you sure it hurts? I'm just like, fam, like put it in. And then they tried. There was like literally 3 dudes on one knee. It sounds wild, but like they're just like trying to put that, put all the pressure into the knee. Like I honestly didn't feel a single thing. I was just sitting there, just like, yo, like literally as I'm sitting there, like having them do that, I'm like, yo, I'm done playing. Like there's no need for me to play. Like it was like our last week of training camp, like our 10-week training camp during the summer. During a 12-week training camp during season. So it was the most important time because fucking like that week was like one of the most crucial weeks for me as like a fucking coach that you plan for, you know, like you're fucking looking forward to, like, yo, we just killed fucking 11 weeks.
Right.
Week 12, fucking final one. And then like the next week is their tryouts. So I'm just like,
You're saying for high school lacrosse?
Yeah, for high school lacrosse. Yeah. So everyone had their varsity tryout on like that next Monday. And I'm just like, fam, you made it this far, not playing, fucking, and then you fucking go ahead and fucking play the last week. Like, you couldn't wait till next weekend. Like, you couldn't wait till training camp was over to go play. But like, so like at that point, I'm just laying there. I'm just like, yeah, man, like you're done playing. Like you fucking built something special.
And
like,
you said that because you said now I can't be on the floor coaching, working on the business I've built, like, doing what I love.
The first thing I thought was like, yo, I can't shake, rattle, and boom. Like I like to like demo. Like I love demoing. Like,
it's all about demo.
Yeah. So I'm like, yo, I can't lunge. I can't fucking split dodge. I can't do nothing. Like I don't know how bad it is. Like, and then from that, like after the EMTs was like, hey man, we can't put it back in. Like at that point, you have to go to the hospital to put it back in the extra. I'm still thinking it's like still good. Get to the hospital. Excuse me. Get an MRI, and they're just like, yeah, that shit's ruptured fully.
Your patellar tendon.
Patellar tendon's ruptured fully.
Which is why you couldn't straighten your knee.
Yeah. And I was just like for me, I kind of knew it. Like no one was telling me.
But in your head?
Like no one knew what I did, but I told the dudes, like I told the paramedics, I'm just like, yo, like I'm a strength and conditioning coach. Like I know it's popped out for sure. Like I know how to put it back in, but I'm not doing that shit. Y'all can do it. But then like when it wouldn't go back in, I'm just like,
Yeah, and along with not being able to straighten your knee, use your quad whatsoever.
I was just like, yeah, there's a little bit more going on here. So I'm just like, I need to get that MRI. So I was waiting for it when she came back. And she said it. I was just like, fuck. I kind of knew it, but like, there we go. And at that point, I'm just like, what's the recovery like? And then she was just like, well, I'm looking at like, at first she said like 6 months to a year. I'm just like, all right, lit, 6 months, not bad. But also it's like, fuck, I need like this week. You know what I mean? But then I got like my doctor's visit like the next few days. Shouts to all my clients or my athletes really. I got fucking great athletes. They're fucking like tapped in 100%. So I got like a fucking a visit like right away. And at that point, doc was like, yeah, it's gonna be about like a year. I'm just like, bro, what? A year till what?
Right.
Like, do you know who the fuck I am?
The thing is till what, right? It's Paul, you went through this with your Achilles. You tore your Achilles a year before. Alex did this with the patellar tendon.
Basically like a year before. Yeah. It's I had the realization of what I did right away. Like I knew it was my Achilles.
I think you have the realization too, like my injury wasn't on the scale of you guys. I tore my pec being a dummy meathead in my 20s, bench pressing. But you have the realization too, like in here we always preach injury prevention with kids, right? We're doing everything we can to prevent injuries. And in my head, that used to mean like they're trained with me, they're not gonna get hurt.
Fam.
And right, and then you start to see it happens to yourself, and you go, sometimes in athletics, like you can really do everything you can, and you should, but
or your first athlete gets injured. That's the heartbreaking one.
Oh, let's talk about that.
Fam, I couldn't sleep for a few nights, to be honest. I'm just like, what did I do? Or what didn't I do?
Yeah.
Fucking like.
They get hurt like at your place or playing in a game?
Playing it in fucking practice. And like.
Yeah, let's talk about this. They're hurt, playing in practice or a game because this used to destroy me. Yeah, go ahead. Like share how you felt.
So my first one, I've only had 2, thank God.
Okay.
Which is like still terrible. Fucking terrible. The first one was kind of annoying to me. I kind of had a philosophy like I don't train seniors because I just like the way I train, like kind of intense. I don't know, it sounds wild, but for me, I'm just like I don't like training seniors. just because like in the area I'm at, like y'all knew I was here for a little bit. Like why wait till senior year to fucking tap in?
And
know?
you do training camp, so you'll do a group of lacrosse athletes, and you're capping that group at a number of kids.
like 12,
okay.
12 athletes. At that time we were doing like a little bit less. We were doing like 8, so like capping them at 8. So for me anyway, so like this athlete was like pretty solid guy, already like going to like a D3 school. It was his senior year, fucking, and like he came in, I was like, all right, man, like let's go, like let's tap in, fucking. I was like going to like the assessment with him, like on paper, and it's like, what's your training experience, yada yada yada. It's always like a little bit, but not really like like professional coaching, X, Y, and Z. I'm just like, senior year, like all right, whatever. And at that point, I'm just like, let's go, like let's do what we do. And like literally, this dude got injured. Fucking, it was like a week into our 8-week training camp. And he went to like a lacrosse practice like in the area. Idiot didn't warm up. Just like hopped out the car, was late. You know, hopped out the bed, hopped out the car, was late. Hopped on the field. You know what I mean? Then from there, like went to go plant, didn't, and then freaking tore his ACL. And like for me, I'm just like, fucking, this is why I don't train seniors, man. Because like at that time, I'm just like, yo, we didn't have enough time to do X, Y, and Z, yada yada yada. And I was just like, yo, like I felt like it was my bad. I'm just like, so I sent him like a big message, like, yo, like I didn't like say it was like my fault, like in the message, but I was just
feeling like that is really real.
Yeah. So I was just like, hey man, like I'm here with you 100%. Like anything we need to fucking do, like I'm with you 100%. Thankfully, like he had 2 older brothers, so like they were still training with me. So like the part of that made me feel like they knew, like it was just like it is what it is kind of thing.
Yeah, because you do feel like sometimes like, oh my God, I lose trust in this family.
100%. So like the fact that they kept coming back, like kind of get me that confidence for sure. And I kept tapping in with him like throughout it. And he like the way he responded to my message, like let me know, like he was like yo, it has nothing to do with you. I'm just like, all right, good. And then my second athlete got fucking injured. That shit had me. I was fucking livid. I was livid at injuries at that point because now like it was like probably 6 months in between like each one. And this athlete I've had for fucking forever, you know. And I was kind of tight about that. I'm just like, all right, like the one athlete I fucking just got, the other athlete I had fucking forever. And this was after fucking like our training camp.
Yeah, because the forever one, you can say, oh, I know we've been doing this work for years, and I know it's quality work. Right.
And it's an athlete that's like there every day, literally every day. So I know like I know everything. Everything's tied up. So for that, and like I heard about the situation that happened, and I'm just like, dude, what the fuck? Like, you can't train for shit like that. You know what I mean? Like you can't train for certain. You can't train for that. You know, like you fucking try to do the best you can. And like obviously like just relaying that to the athlete. I'm just like at that point in time, it's like, hey, like you know you fucking put in the work. I know you fucking put in the work. Like unfortunately, like even like this is a more recent situation, but like just looking at like the pro athletes that just got injured like within the last 2 weeks, like these dudes at the fucking top of their game. You know what I mean? Like after training with professionals, I get some of them don't fucking put in the work like they should.
Right.
But still, like you like to think a lot of them are putting in the fucking work. So just like if they're fucking getting injured, you know what I mean? Like it does happen. So
injuries are part of sports.
Yeah, I think it's that you get to the point where you accept it. I used to feel the same way, and I would lose sleep for nights. I would be like, what could we have done differently? I think the what could we have done differently is always good to think about as a coach.
Yeah.
You know, I think it makes you really step back and look at your training programs.
Yeah.
And usually when you do that, you can figure out some places you can adjust, I think, which is really important to do. But injuries are going to happen in sports.
Right.
I think I've learned over the years is to take that energy of that I would spend looking back and feeling regret for not doing this or not doing that, and just being there for the athlete.
Yeah.
100%.
Just being there, reaching out, hey, everything okay? You good? You going to PT?
Right.
Making sure their spirits are up, making sure mentally they're okay. Because they'll get back. These are high school kids, you know.
100%.
They'll progress back. They'll get back to the field. It's just that period of time where they're not in the field. They're not with their friends.
Right.
You just want to be like a positive somebody for them during that time.
For me, kind of like Paul was saying earlier, like just being able to learn from the experience. Like the athlete that was with me the longest, she tore hers ACL after I messed up my patellar tendon. And at that point, it was just like, hey, I'm really with you, cause like, hey, I just fucked my shit up, and like I'm fucking out here getting to it. So like, if I just got fucking injured, like just going through it, fucking like you could sit here and feel sorry for a second, but we got to keep moving forward, you know. So like being able to have that experience in the trenches like that speaks volumes, and like a lot of coaches like don't get that, which is cool. Like you don't want to have that like injury experience, but like
No.
being able to pull from like just some experience, like like at that point now it's just like all mental, you know, like,
Yeah.
hey, how can we overcome this adversity as best we can?
Because I think unless you go through it mentally, it's going to be hard to 100%
really understand.
lock in and understand with somebody who's currently there and injured and not being able to play.
I remember we had we had a girl in here who had different. I had my Achilles done, but literally 6 months to the day of my Achilles surgery, she had knee surgery, and this was probably her third one. I want to say that she's gone through the ripper with it, but like the whole time I told her I was like, we're PT buddies now. We're PT buddies, and I think those little things like that help an athlete, especially one that's gone through multiple surgeries on something, get through it much more easily because they're like, all right, I have somebody else that has gone through it, understands the mental side of it, like, and that was part of my reason personally of wanting to be able to show that I could get back out there is to show these guys like, hey, if you have a setback, it doesn't mean that you can't come back. You have to have a setback to have a comeback.
100%.
Like that was my motto the whole time I was doing it.
100%.
Alex, how do you deal with, so when you're training kids in your lacrosse training camp and you're doing, skill work and you're doing agility work, change of direction, you're doing some strength training with them, how do you manage if are kids playing lacrosse elsewhere at the same time, or is that not often a situation?
So during the summer, we had athletes that were like, there was not the Empire State Games anymore. It's called, God dang it. There's like, used to be called Empire State Games.
Yeah, I remember
it's
that.
where like all the like athletes from like all over New York State come together at UAlbany and play. And then from there, so that was happening during our training camp. And then from there, you have some athletes that are going to like these prospect days, these camps. There's some at that time, I believe there may have been some other like recreational leagues going on, like the Albany Powers, the ADK Peaks, the Accelerate 518 Accelerates. So those are going on at the same time, but we're different, a lot different. So like what we do is like we really like develop athletes. And I was just talking to a parent about this on the way up. Like we developed an athlete, you know what I mean, and then we also develop like the skill from like the ground up,
Right.
So for us, it's just like being able to have athletes that are dealing with like all like these different playing fields, if you will. When they come into us, it's just like we all start from the same level, because like that's why I love to like start from week one, lock all the athletes in and say, hey, like y'all got to be here for one, like the amount of time you signed up. Like we're not pulling this fucking, I can't come last minute shit. Like the fuck, like don't do that. But also it's just like when we lock them in from week 1 to like week 10 or whatever, it's just like we're all starting from ground zero. And at that point, like I would say, like I get to hold them accountable to the stuff that I coach. So at that point, like we go through the basics of just how to load through deceleration, isometrics, and then from there we start building up slowly into overcoming isometrics. And then at that point, like just helping these athletes, like what I noticed is like a lot of athletes have trouble getting into their hips, which is crazy to me because it's like I never had training when I was young. We talked about that in the last podcast. So like just being able to see that stuff in athletes like this young, I'm just like, yo, was I like this when I was young? But like for me, it's just like a lot of athletes now over time have the same compensations, if you will, to help them, like, I guess, be decent or just get into positions. But just being able to see those things right away and say, hey, like, what's the best drills that will work for most athletes at the same time? So
How have you created your systems? Because like what you said, let's work on deceleration first. How have you created your systems from week 0 all the way through the end in week 12? How did you kind of sit down and come up with that?
So it's been actually a really awesome process. And like I'm actually like, and I get more excited like every training camp because it's always just like relearning like what we just did for the last 12 weeks. So like not last week, but the week before that, I tried to take a vacation, which was like just me like not coaching, but like still athletes like end up coming like in the gym anyway. But like at that point, like that week I had the chance to like debrief on like, hey, we just went through these 10 weeks. Here's like the outcome of what we just did. Here's like what went well. Here's what didn't go well. Here's where like we need to improve. Here's like the goals that I had. Here's what we met. Here's what I didn't meet.
Are you doing that through measuring specific variables or okay?
Yeah. And then like before that, it was just like, I like to say my training camp in preseason training camp this year is my first real one. So before that, it was literally just like years and years and years of just, I won't say years, like 3 years, if you will. Of literally just taking everything I've done, like having confidence in myself, like, hey man, we built some pretty dope athletes over the last few, like what have we done? Like, and like literally like fucking just notebooks, or fucking just like back in the day, just papers.
Dude,
now,
that's what it's about.
Like, where's my phone? Like this phone is fucking busted, and like it's a it's a it's a Samsung. All my athletes roast me. It's like, yo man, get an iPhone. I'm like, bro, this is so valuable because the notes on this thing, like all the fucking like writing I do, like just on like the notes on the Samsung part, cap that out, and then I went to like Google Drive. Like literally just capped that out. Like today, I'm starting to get the notice like, hey man, need more space.
Yeah.
So it's like always like just compiling, you know, and having all that like stock to like then it's like, hey, let's boil it down, figure out like what's the best stuff, like what made the most sense for athletes, like so that we stay consistent with, and then from there just being able to put it into like the format of like, like week one, like we just kind of just talked about, like teaching these athletes how to like get into positions, not really touching weight at all yet, and then from there, like as we start seeing some progress in certain things, now we start implementing like certain steps, like actually starting like lifting with kettlebells and like those small implements first, and then like we won't get to like barbells and trap bars and stuff like that till like week 4, like week 5.
See, that's cool to hear, because I think a lot of high school kids, especially now, you see stuff on the internet, or even with like lifting in school, like they're throwing these kids right into. I was just told at Shen that they got rid of trap bars because it was cheating, and you're like,
No way,
the fuck,
bro. I heard, yeah.
Excuse
I
me?
was talking to some Shen girls about like their training. It sounds like they got like an old coach in there. That's what it
it
sounds
seems
like.
like old school powerlifting, right?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
football style
I heard
workouts.
they still do straight bars. Yeah, 'cause
Yeah,
that was just
right.
where the fucking, like,
Yeah, so
golly, man.
it's like,
Like,
you
I
know,
get it, but
I get it from if you're just an old school guy and that's all you know.
Mhm.
But when it comes to
Or if
develop,
that's the only equipment you have, like don't get rid of the
yeah.
the thing that like
Yeah.
is a safer
yeah,
option.
Right.
the most freaking like the easiest option
to
you know what I mean?
coach in a group setting,
Straight, like yo, grip and rip, hop in, like yo,
Rip
set
it,
up,
rip it.
like,
yeah,
yo, let's like teaching a straight bar deadlift.
that's a task.
I studied that thing like a lot when I first got into coaching, not just not knowing, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of thinking like trap bars were silly, you know? And then from there, like I was just like, all right, this is a really technical lift. If you want to do it like proper and like actually like kill a damn thing. And I was like, there's no way I'm teaching every athlete how to do this. And like I got over my fear of using a straight or of the like trap bar. Started throwing athletes in that. I'm just like, yeah, this makes more sense. And like obviously like hearing coaches talk about like, yo, like in the group setting, the ability just to have athletes get in, teach them positioning, and just load that thing up. Like,
Yeah.
yo, that makes the most sense. And like the objective is to like, you know what I mean, dictate progress. You know what I mean? So like put them in the trap bar, lift weight.
Right.
Let's get strong.
Yeah, I think when you're talking about
Golly.
development, though, that's good to hear. It's like, can you get into positions?
Yeah,
Can
yeah.
you maintain those positions? Then we load the positions, and the
100%.
chances are that somebody learns to get in a position and then can maintain that with loading with something like a straight bar is a way harder ask than going to kettlebells
Yeah, yeah.
and then going to the
'Cause
trap
now
bar.
you're having to deal with like, yo, what is this big ass bar in my hands, you know? And then from there, what are these weights at the end? How do I use these? Like,
Right.
where do they go?
Yeah.
You know, so it's just like you really got to start from the ground up.
No,
and
I
like, it kind of sometimes it sucks a little bit because you have like the more advanced athletes, but like I remind them, like, hey, like I've had the chance to work with like some pretty cool athletes at the highest level, and it's just like I promise you, we're all doing the same shit. And it's just like every time they come from like their like season, like just like restore like body function, you know, like you're putting them through like just crawls and basic shit, like just to go through like that like restoration,
Yes.
getting their like functions where they need to be, then allow them to actually like walk and like actually I always say like walk and chew gum at the same time, you know, 'cause like for me, a lot of these young athletes always say they can't walk and chew gum. So for me, I'm just like, all right, how can we get them to walk and chew gum at the same time? And for me, it's just like, all right, let's start with crawling, start with skipping, start with hopping.
Yep.
And from there, it's like implementing those small things, you know? So being able to see like the like more professional
Paul, slide
athletes.
that mic up a little bit to Alex. Just
this
one?
slide up a little bit. Yeah,
So
turn it
being
up.
able to
There
get the like more,
hey,
there we
you
go.
go.
Hey,
You had a beautiful
there we
voice.
go.
I wanted to hear it better. Thank you.
Being able to get those like professional athletes to do those same things and then be like, all right, if these guys are doing it to like help them get where they need to be, then like why can't I do it? You know?
Right.
But like also like understanding like there's certain things you do with them that professional athletes are doing, there's certain things you don't, you know. So,
I think, okay, if there's a parent listening, let's talk, because I think what's important is the phase one is super important. That's the foundation of everything you're going to build on.
100%.
But also the postseason recovery, regeneration, is that how you put it?
Yeah.
Is also extremely important. Give me your like foundations of a phase one. What are the biggest rocks that you're trying to
big
work on
rocks.
and build?
So phase one, kind of talked about already. So like really looking to load. For me, a lot of athletes are coming out of like their spring season. So at that point, like really looking just to get full mobility, like through like all ranges of motion. It's like I'm big on like primal movements, like in that phase. So like we'll go through
Crawling.
Yeah, crawling. We'll go through like gorilla-esque movements. So like more as like you could say like crawling-esque, if you will, but like it's more ground mobility, if you will, putting them in weird positions, getting them comfortable with their joints. And then from there, just go through. It's like more a lot of dynamic mobility, like early in the stage, like spending time with that. Actually, like, hey, this is how we stretch. This is why we stretch. Getting them more mobile because a lot of athletes don't have fucking flexibility, mobility. So being able to like just get that down, like that's huge. And then from there, we'll start with like a little bit of like speed preparation. So like going through like the marching mechanics, walking, marching, and then from there, like I said, hopping, skipping, all that fun stuff. That's like very important the first few weeks. Then at that point, phase one. From there, after that process, we just dive into really understanding like the weight room. So like when it comes down to like when we use our medicine balls, going through the power, using the boxes, being able to use kettlebells properly. Like literally, I'll go through. Like this is my first time doing it. Like this past summer training camp, like actually like just walking through and like touring the weight room and like actually giving like a whole demo and like, hey, this is how we do things. This is why we do things. This like we may see this soon, we may not. Like going through that stuff. So like for me, that's important to like actually like giving them an education piece on the weight room itself. Like that means a lot. So like actually when we get to like you could say like week 3, like we can say, hey guys, like we're gonna start going through our kettlebell deadlifts. Like go get the kettlebells. Like they're just like, all right, cool. Here's a kettlebell. Some people go for the dumbbells, and it's like, hey, kettlebell, and it's like, oh shoot, okay.
Yep.
So like that stuff pays dividends
every day.
Yeah.
So that stuff pays dividends like on the front end. So yeah, from there, just like really just being repetitive with that. I know like when I first started, like I always wanted to just like go, like do like different things, but I had to like really start slowing myself down and say, hey, like a lot of athletes really need the reps. So like really just spending like 2 weeks kind of like hammering home like those basic foundations. And then from there, like week 3, week 4, then diving into like the weight room.
Yeah, I think that sets up future sessions as well, right? It makes
100%.
them easier for you to reference things and coach and have them go smoother. Like we say in here, like we'll write our programs in. Our business model we've talked is different. It's like a semi-private model where kids come in, they have their own program, we're coaching them through it. But if we really do our jobs on weeks 1 and 2, then weeks 3 and 4 should be a lot easier for us to coach because we've really spent in the time on the front end teaching technique, mechanics, how to move around the weight room.
Right. And just like with that, literally spending time just thinking as you're talking. Like just going through like the basics of like eccentrics, concentrics, like using those things the proper way, like explaining to them what that stuff means, you know? Cause like
the education's so huge because the kid's gonna also have to work out at school and then they go to college and work out. So I think to really have an understanding will allow them to make better decisions for themselves.
Yeah. And like we were kind of saying earlier, like for me, it's been very eye opening. I'm trying to think about a situation recently. Where like you'll have, I had a chance to work with Gate Lacrosse.
I've been seeing that.
Yeah, which is a blessing in itself. But we had some pretty like professional athletes coming in, D1 college athletes coming in. We went through, I had a chance to coach them through a session. And at that point, there's this one athlete. I always put it on the coach, so I'll say it's my fault for not being able to do it fast enough, but being able to get him to get full hip extension. But the crazy part was, like, dude's like yoked up. You know, like he looks like a fucking dude who like lives in the weight room. He was out there like doing backflips like for like commercial and shit like that. Like we were going through like deadlifts, some landmine presses, and then at the end some kettlebell swings. And going through the kettlebell swing, but he just like couldn't get full extension on his hip. And like I told like my athletes, they all came in like, yo, it looked dope as hell. Like they look like a fucking fire like a time. And it's like, y'all think it looked fire? But the one thing I'm sitting here itching over is the dude that couldn't get full hip extension with the fucking kettlebell swing.
You're like, and that's on video right now.
Mid shoot, I'm just like, hey, if like once that happened, literally, because like at first, like low key, this was my first like, this was like a high level shoot. So I was like, first like low key, so like, I don't know if it's just like I'm a fanboyed a little bit at first because it's like, we got like some dope pros, my favorite team coming in, and like literally like top 2-3 attackmen, midfielders like in the country right now. I'm like, yo, let's fucking go. But also I'm just like, all right, now that we've fucking been here before, like wake the fuck up. Like you got pros coming in, like let's fucking do the damn thing. But also then add on the factor of like, oh shit, like there's a fucking fog machine going. There's
a fog machine in the shoot? Alex.
It was there's fucking like cameras going around, like fucking a few cameras like spinning around. I'm just like, all right, we gotta fucking be on point. I'm like, and I also didn't know like, yo, like, do I coach, or do I just like give him like a little sauce for like the shoot? So I'm trying to like figure all that out.
Was there any director? Or you were on your own?
No, there was a director.
Okay.
But like hey, my people, I love them. I don't know if I should say it on camera. We'll talk about it now. But the shit we talked about, like coaching, like there was like, hey, want to go through like some plyo, some speed, some fucking some medicine ball stuff. Didn't do a single lick of it. They're just like, yo, can we get some weight room stuff? I'm like, yo, fire. Y'all didn't tell me that a half hour ago when I told you. I was so not tight. I'm just like, fam, like, all right, like, coach, make the adjustment. It's what we do.
Right.
But like, yo.
I had a game plan.
Fam,
I had a game plan.
Bro. I'm just,
Strategy
like, pulled
planned
out the
out.
best program. And then from that standpoint, like right off rip when they said that, and it's like, all right, bro, like fucking got to like pull on my fucking Iron Man mask, and it's like, all right, bro, what do we do? What do we gotta do? Talk to the director real quick, and I was just like, in respect to the athletes, big dog, we gotta get a warm up first. You know what I mean? These are professional athletes. They have games like coming up this weekend, literally. I'm just like, I'm about to just fucking put them through like a bullshit, whatever.
Yeah.
And he was just like, all right, man, I'm just gonna follow you. I'm just like, all right, dope. And then fucking from there, like, went through the shoot. I'm still like kind of like giving him like a little sauce, like doing great job. Like shouts to me in the squad.
Is this shoot out there or not yet?
Not yet. Not
Okay.
yet.
I'm getting stoked for this thing right now.
No, it's gonna be fire. It's gonna be fire. But then from there, like once we're going through like the weight room, and like the kettlebells, like thankfully like one of the last things we were going through. And like buddies like couldn't really land my press well. I'm just like, damn, bro, a lot of these things are raw. And at that point, I'm
So
just
you're
like,
just like trying to clean them up in the
no,
moment?
once I noticed they were raw, I was like, hey, fellas, because we're on camera, y'all ain't gonna have me looking trash out here. So like, let's
Right.
fucking like really dial the fuck in.
You have to realize that and be like, wait, I can't have this
And that-
shoot get a lot of views,
Yeah, yeah.
and I'm standing there, and this guy's technique is ass.
And that's when I was just like, all right, bro, like back to like put yourself back into like when you're actually coaching like actual pros. Like they want the fucking like direction, they want like
Yes.
whatever. And like forget the cameras are here, man. Like it's about your like at that point it's about my brand, my reputation. You know what I mean? So like, hey, fellas, y'all can't have me looking trash out here. Like we gotta fucking like do what we gotta do. So I'm just like, yo, like let's fucking go. Like I just tied up my fucking everything at that point. I'm just like, yo, I gotta explain a little bit more than I was. Gotta actually demo a little bit more than I was. I don't care if it takes more time on camera.
Right.
But like, I'm not gonna have a dude swinging a fucking kettlebell and not getting full hip extension. Like, what the fuck is that? 'Cause I just see strength coaches across the world. Oh, look at that fucking guy. I can't even fucking coach you out.
The comments online, Alex,
God.
dude. Oh.
Fam. So now I'm just like, yo, y'all don't even like. I'm not like I could care less, but I'm just like, y'all weren't even in the room. So it's just like, well, it is what it is. But like at that point, I realized like, yo, we gotta back to the original story.
I can't believe there was a fog machine.
Yeah, it was fire. It was fire. But back to the original story. I realized at that point, like a lot of athletes are raw. It doesn't matter like what level they're fucking at, you know. So it doesn't matter like if I have like a high level athlete who I've had for 4 years, or if it's like a new athlete who I've had since day one. Like we're starting fucking phase one, day one, like going through it. Like you've seen it before, even better. You know what I mean? So now you just get more like time in the trenches, reps in the game, and at that point, it's reinforcing more qualities that you need to have, and it's hardening the shell. So yeah.
Yeah, when'd you move into your new space?
Officially, like January, like end of January.
Because you didn't have it last time you were on here, right?
What month was that?
You definitely didn't have it. I feel like because you.
No,
were
I
talk-
definitely
It was
didn't.
the
'cause
fall.
you
It
were-
was
you were
around a
still
year
doing stuff
ago.
in Malta when
Yeah.
you were on here last time.
Yeah. So, okay, how was that transition?
I'm trying to
Is
figure
this,
out the last month was here. Last month was here. It's like the transition of like,
is it the same size space or bigger than your prior?
technically, square footage. It's technically smaller, but it's bigger though.
Because the layout is better?
Yeah, because like the ceilings, my last spot had like a back part, which I didn't really use. I didn't really have to say that, but like there's like a back part we didn't really use, which is like a pretty decent size. Like now, I would love to have it. Like if I had that back part, I would love to have it.
Right.
So like now I need more space. But at that point, my last space was like 3,000 square feet, and this one's like 2,600. So I'm missing
Okay.
that 400. But it's like the layout. Like we had the high ceilings.
The high ceilings is huge. It makes the place feel so much
100%.
bigger.
Like if I didn't, it would feel so small. And then from there, like the way like just it's like funneled, if you will, like opens up in the back is perfect for just having like the weight room set up like the turf in the back with the lacrosse cage. So it's pretty dope.
The supplement industry is like the Wild West. The lack of regulations mean the supplements you purchase may not even contain the ingredients listed on the label, which is why I get my daily vitamins and supplements from Thorne. Thorne vitamins and supplements are made without compromise. Quality ingredients ensure your body optimally absorbs and digests your daily supplements, while in-house and third-party testing ensure you're getting exactly what you paid for. Thorne offers a variety of health tests reviewed by board-certified physicians that evaluate your lifestyle, gut health, sleep, stress hormones, and metabolic markers to determine which vitamins and supplements may be most effective in helping you feel and perform better throughout the day. For college and professional athletes, Thorne has NSF-certified supplements that make sure you won't get pop positive on a drug test. Whether you're an athlete, professional, parent, grandparent, or weekend warrior, Thorne's selection of high-quality supplements can help improve your quality of life. Switch to Thorne's high-quality and extensively tested supplements today at thorne.com/u/CDSF. That's thorne.com/u/CDSF. This episode of Off Exit 10 is brought to you by Anchor and the all-new Anchor Pro, crafted to endure the most high-performance workouts without the high cost and space requirements of a standard cable machine. Named the best portable cable machine by Men's Health Home Gym Awards, Anchor provides the full functionality of a cable machine in one small space-saving unit. Designed with user-friendliness in mind, Anchor can simply be attached to any squat rack or placed on any wall in your home gym using its intuitive sliding track mount. With up to 65 pounds of resistance, Anchor is built for high speed and controlled exercises alike, from cable presses and rows to chops and lifts. The Anchor has been a game changer for us here at CDSF, and now you can enjoy the same professional quality cable machine in your own home gym by heading over to anchortraining.com and using code CDSF10 for 10% off your order today. Get all the benefits of a cable machine without the high cost and installation fees. Enjoy the portable luxury and space-saving performance of Anchor today by going to anchortraining.com and using code CDSF10 at checkout. That's anchortraining.com, promo code CDSF10 for 10% off your order today. How was it? Let's talk about how it was going from, because you went in there, it was an empty space, right?
No, yeah. Well, but even like worse than that, it was like there was like literally holes in the wall, like just like run down, like
Yeah.
so it had to be like cleaned out, built up, and then like built like walls built up. You know what I mean? Like mold and stuff taken down, all that kind of stuff. So like really like redone up.
But this is the stuff that people wanting to start a gym, they don't think about much until they're in it.
Yeah.
In terms of finding a space, and then in terms of fitting that space up to suit your business.
100%.
And then being able to, cause I know people who, they'll just open a gym and they'll just suit it up with some cool and fancy equipment and think that's that. But then it doesn't flow with their business model. So how did you walk into that and then be able to say, hey, this is how I want to lay it out. This is how it's going to fit my training camps. This is how it's going to fit the number of people I want in when I'm coaching.
So for me, we had it's kind of like a similar layout to my last facility, but like our turf is bigger, and like I'll say like I won't say a hidden gem, but like my last facility, our turf was like cut short because I fucked up the measurements on the turf, which I was so annoyed about. Like I'm unrolling the turf, then it just stops. I'm just like, wait a second, like this is as long as it goes. So like I was supposed to have like full turf in my last one, but didn't. Thankfully, it worked out like to be perfect. So for this one, I was just, when I walked in, simply saw like this big brick wall. I was just like, wall ball. Like that's what I want my athlete, like that for me. Like just thinking about like what made me like great to a certain extent, and like wall ball was huge, and like the actual brick on the wall matters. So like I had like the big cylinder blocks. I'm just like, that's every child's dream right there, especially my dream. Like started playing wall ball right away. Literally.
And that already existed in the space, so you were like perfect.
Yeah. I'm like the last unit in the plaza. So at that point, it's just like the ending, if you will. So at that point, I was like, all right, this is like the perfect brick wall. If I can get this spot, that would be huge. Like there's some big holes in the wall, some stuff to do, but like just got to like get it done up. I've had the chance to like do some real estate stuff in the past. So like I know like you just got to like look past that stuff, So at that point, I'm just like, okay, like thinking about my old gym, thinking about the gyms I had the chance to internship in, like what would make the most sense, what would give us the most functionality out of the actual gym. Like I want to make sure like we're diving deep into lacrosse. We have room to sprint. I want to make sure we have the proper surfaces to do so. I also want to make sure like we have a hard surface. I want to make sure like I was going to just turf out the whole thing at first. I was like, no, we need to have a hard surface. So I want to make sure I get rubber in there. So at that point, I'm just like, okay, like what's going to be rubber? What's going to be turf? I'm just like, technically just need the weight room, rubber, weight room, turf. And then from there, just thinking about like the rack setup. Like that's like the thinking about the biggest things first. Like, where do you want the racks? For me, where do you want like the dumbbells and all that kind of stuff, kettlebell setup? Where do I want like the lacrosse cage, obviously. And at that point, kind of like putting the pieces around that. Kind of just like drawing, just tons of drawings, figuring it out, like walking in there. Like the coolest. Oh man, I can dive deep on this, but like the coolest thing about this whole process, I was really cool with the owner of the plaza, if you will. So like in like the builders of the plaza. So at that point, like they gave me a key to like the empty space, like when I signed the lease, if you will. And literally like every night I would just walk in there and just like after like my coaching day.
Because you were still coaching at your other spot.
Like the true transition, like when I came home from Florida, I was out of like remote location that was like just different than like the plaza, if you will. And then from there, got kicked out of that plaza because like the dude said I was too busy for him. Mind you, the place was always empty. I was the only person there. It is what it is.
So you were like renting
Yeah, I was renting space. Yeah. So like handed him my check on November 1st. He's like, hey man, like you got to be up end of the month. And it's like, fam, all right.
And that's where you were seeing all your people.
Yeah. Like when I first got back. No
I
doubt.
think I remember this. You texted me. Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, I remember this.
That's why I
now.
was asking you, like, when did I see you guys last? I think
Yes, it was a little bit before that then.
Yeah. So
okay.
at that point, that was in November. We're just like looking around. I was like, all right, like this is like for me at that like life's just different. So it was like just talking to the man above, and it's like, yo, like what's the plan? Like what are we doing here? And then at that point, I just talked to the landlord, the owner of like the old plaza. I was like, hey, like I know you have a frick ton of spaces here. Now she doesn't. It's a very busy place now. But I was like, hey, like I need a space. Like I'm looking to move back. Like I have a ton of clientele. Like I just got kicked out of the spot I was just in for like no apparent reason. Like, is there any way I could like literally? I just need a spot. I just need a spot to throw a rack and some dumbbells, and I'll be straight. And she was just like yeah, we'll talk about like building something, yada yada yada. And I was just like, all right, dope. Like let's go. But I was just like, the hell does that look like? Like,
did you feel pressed for time too?
I was definitely pressed for time. So like at that point, I started like posting my training camp stuff like heavy, like early on. We talked about it like when we were here on the podcast. So like I knew like by January 1, ideally I had to have a spot to have a training camp. And being kicked out in November, I'm just like
doesn't give you much time.
Fam, gives you 60 days
to get a lease, to fit up a space, to get equipment.
To get equipment, to get all that stuff. So at that point, I'm just like heavy into my faith right now. Now, not right now, like now. Kind of always have been, but like really like now, especially after like this journey. So like just having faith that like it's all gonna happen, like when it's supposed to happen, how it's supposed to happen. And at that point, literally, I was able to sign the lease like a few days after I got like kicked out of the spot. So like just going like that week, I texted you to like just going through like consistent like, hey man, like F what happened, like moving forward, like what do we gotta do, where do we gotta go, where do we gotta look. At that point, I was able to have a great conversation, hook me up with a great deal, and I was just like, yo, let's go. So now everything like we make and earns going towards a new facility. She had like an old like liquor spot, an old liquor store that was just like vacant, like the biggest space in there. And I was like, yo, can I just use that spot for now until my spot's getting built out? And she was like, yeah, for sure. And did me justice, didn't charge me any rent.
Wow, that's incredible.
Hey, God works in mysterious ways.
Yeah,
on purpose, on time. And at that point, was able to like have all my switch all my training over to like the. It was dope, man. Like we're just in like a fucking like a literally. It looks like you would be in like a walk into like a liquor store, and like it's just bare. So like we were just training in there for fucking like at that. It ended up being 2 months. We were supposed to be in the space like the beginning of January, but just how construction works, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's always a little bit longer than you think.
Yeah, it never goes according to plan.
Yeah, but always right on time. So at that point, I'm just like, yo, like I'm used to thugging it out. So I'm not stressing, but I'm also kind of stressing. So I'm just like, yo, I just got back. I'm building this brand, like, but it's also kind of a great story. You know, it's kind of like,
a phenomenal
yo, like,
story.
like my team, like as I came back, everyone's like with me. The whole team's with me. I'm growing. I'm building. I told people like what happened. They're just like, yo, like let's go. Like let's, you know what I mean? Like whatever you need, we got you. I'm just like, yo, let's go. Like let's really go. And at that point, like just like accepted every coaching gig possible, busted my fucking ass, got a second part-time job, fucking at Domino's delivering pizzas, killed that.
Dude.
And then from there, just fucking built out the facility, man, straight cash. Fucking like everything I fucking got paid for, straight.
That's incredible.
And fucking like just busted my ass and built it. The maintenance crew at the plaza. Like they actually like they fit up the place as far as like just put up the walls and shit.
Mm-hmm.
Outside of that, I did fucking everything else. Like laid the turf, fucking built all the racks, painted the place, fucking did every fucking thing. They helped me with like a few things like here and there. But yeah, man, fucking a lot of this fucking just work myself. Fucking like literally. So after like every day I was coaching, I would like go there and just speak nothing but like life, energy, positivity into the fucking building. Like just like, yo, literally, I can close my eyes right now and it's like walk in the front door, like saying, hey, before I even walk in there, because like the guys, they would work throughout the day. I'll just close my eyes because there's like paper like there is now, like over the door. I didn't know what the hell would happen during the day. I was just like, yo, God, when I walk in here, I was looking to see progress. I'd open the door and I would see like just a few things like just moved around, like, you know what I mean, a little different every day. And at that point, I was going there and to speak life. I was like, yo, I'd always say like, yo, like, please protect the workers, make sure they can get everything they can possibly get done at this point in time. And I would just speak like, yo, I can see the black paint on the wall. I can see the black and red over here. I can see the black turf. I can see the black and red spec. I can see the racks. I can see the dumbbells, see the kettlebell, see the cage, see the crease, see all that kind of stuff. I would just go through that every single night for like a half hour to an hour and just go crazy, man. Like just go crazy, like out loud. Just go crazy. No question about it. Just speaking like positive freaking energy into the universe like no other. And somehow, some way, I was able to open up my gym at the end of January, like mid-January, end of January. And it was dope as fuck.
Dude, that is dope as fuck. That's a wild 2-month ride.
Yeah. It was dope. And like for me, like I didn't get any decals on the walls yet, which is wild to me. 'Cause like anyway. So like for me, I always tell my athletes when they walk in the place, I'm just like, hey, like I just need y'all to know whatever you want to happen will fucking happen. And like I can tell you that just because you guys are fucking standing in a spot that I made happen. And like I didn't know it was supposed to happen. And like at some point I knew it had to happen. And I put in the fucking work to make it happen. You guys are, I call it Dreamville. Like you guys are standing in my fucking dream. Like this is where dreams come true. Like straight. And it's all about the fucking work you put in, the work you fucking speak, the work you believe.
Yeah.
And at that point, it always comes down to relentless action and relentless faith. Because like if I didn't believe, like no one else is gonna believe in me. Like there's probably people out there that wanted me to fail. I'm like, oh, here this dude goes, like fucking doing some like whatever. And for me, I'm just like, I didn't really care about that at all. But I'm just like, yo, literally, I was just like, yo, like let's just keep building. Like I didn't even think about anything negative. It's like, yo, let's just keep building. Let's just keep focused on like, yo, like literally whatever I want, let's get. That's like the energy, like even like to this day, like I'm on. I'm like, yo, whatever we want, let's just get. Like, yo, if we want black turf, how much does it cost? How much do you want? You want turf the whole shit? Nah, it doesn't make sense to. But we could, we don't need to. You want to, like, where do you want to put the rubber? X, Y, and Z. What kind of racks do you want to get? And I will say, I'm not going to get Sorinex. You know what I mean? Like, it's a little expensive.
Shout out Sorinex.
Shouts to Sorinex. However, we did get, what did we get? Some Bells of Steel stuff that looks, you know what I mean, it's like a replica of like Sorinex S stuff. So we tried to get like the top tier stuff, but we knew like it was just me. So like in his own means, I was like, yo, like whatever we want, let's get. It's not about me. It's not for me. It's for the people. You know what I mean? If it's for the people, it's just like, yo, there's no expense. There's no expense. And if like for me at that point, like yo, it's from a higher power at that point, like, yo, like let's go. Like he showed me like I got the space. He showed me like people keep hitting me up from this random spots I never heard of. Like, yo, let's go. Like we're getting the gigs. We're making the money. And at that point, I'm just like, yo, like let's, like I keep saying let's go, but like it was just like
you said to me,
man.
you said to me at one point, I don't know if it was last year on the podcast or years ago when you came in here, you're just like, I'm gonna be the lacrosse guy in this area.
100%.
Right?
100%.
And now
I remember that.
Yeah.
100%.
And now when you look at your Instagram and your space, you're like, this dude did it.
Yeah. The next like the continued goal, I'm there for the next 4 years, like looking to build a Walmart, man. I'm looking to build a Walmart. Like really looking to have like my fat logo like on the front of like a fat facility that's just like a huge weight room, like 50 yards of turf, and just doing the damn thing right. Like and just like for me, like the training camp process so far has been such a blessing, man. Like bringing like all these athletes together, like a lot of people from your camp here as well, which has been fucking dope. Honestly, I think that's dope as hell. To be honest
we
with
share a lot of athletes, and that's
I think that's fire. To be honest.
think it's the coolest thing.
Cause like I'm always talking to them how fucking like I met you guys and how like fucking like I got introduced to you guys. How I kind of like stalked you guys at first. But like I think it's just dope being able to fucking have them like tap in with me, tap in with you, understand the fucking like you said, like you educate, I educate. So I understand like what it means to like continue training and not just fucking like just do one thing, just do skill, but continue to fucking like seek the best you could possibly can as far as training principles and stuff like that. So I really enjoy like being able to have athletes like from different areas come, different or athletes that train in different camps come, because for me it means like we are not like we're not a little bit different, but like we add value on the lacrosse space a lot. And for me, I was talking to a parent about like I said earlier about developing the full athlete, but like how we bring it into like our sessions are like 2 hours, if you will. So the first hour will be like either like a speed or like weight room like development day, and at that point like the next hour will be like going into lacrosse. And a lot of times we'll have the chance to like really tie in some of the principles we learned in the weight room into like our lacrosse piece. And for me, it's being able to like transfer all that and give athletes like the keys they need. Like that's been such a blessing to like see all that transfer and like transfer very well. And at that point, like for me, the goal is to like create this. Think about how I'm speaking about this, so I can really be intentional. The mission, the current mission right now that I'm on is to continue to build this training camp model to like be dominant when it comes down to like just developing athletes from like a skills standpoint and a performance standpoint, like making them faster, making them more agile, the abilities to load and explode, but then more importantly, the ability to fucking like, dominate on the field, like get a PhD, have a doctorate in your sport. Like that's what means the most. Like last night I had my open gym, and that was like my first time getting like a lot of my athletes back since our training camp, which has been I think like 3 weeks or something like that. Bro, and we went through like a 5-on-4 in the gym. Bro, seeing these athletes just ball, God, and bro, I can say this respectfully, they could not ball. Like when I first like put them through like some skill stuff in the first training camp, first few weeks, and just like the way I turn intensity up, like being able to see them come back and just flow, I'm just like, holy shit, like I hit on something. I think, you know what I mean, just gotta keep experimenting, you know what I mean, but like just continue to build this. So in like the next few years when like that lease is up, I have the opportunity to really go ahead and expand into a bigger space, have like that big weight room, have the turf. So now we can really host these 3 training camps, get more coaches on staff, and like really just build the thing out. Like I feel like everyone's saying this at this point. Maybe it's just the world I'm in. But like just have like the recovery space, have
that's important.
Like the nutrition space, have and obviously the performance space, and like have that all in one. Like I know like the Impact is up here, and like they're like a big like court space or court based.
They're a big court space, and we've talked about this. I guess I'll say it publicly. They're a big court space and like beautiful facilities.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes what places like that are missing is somebody with the story that you just told. That I walked into an empty space. At one point, I had fucking nothing. I envisioned this space. I envisioned helping people. I envisioned everything to exactly the inch that the turf is laid out at, and exactly the inch of where the squat rack is placed, and exactly the feeling I want somebody to have when they walk in the door. Right? Like, beautiful facilities are nice, but I think in our world, people wanting to help other people and be in a community, and people respond to feeling how they feel when they walk in to your place.
100%.
Relationships, and because they can feel everything that you put into it.
100%.
That's the power that you have in a field like this when you're with people every day. Is if you're the creator of it and you're the operator, it's like that's felt.
Yeah, no doubt. So like that's you like I get to have the blessing of seeing that almost like every week, if you will, is having people like reach out and say, hey man, appreciate X, Y, and Z, you know, and that kind of like makes it a lot better, and like allows you to see like the true value of it all, you know. Like for me, like when I was like I've had the pleasure of just like helping some people like just kind of like get started in like the entrepreneurship side, just like self-employment side, whatever.
Yeah, let's talk about that a little bit too.
Yeah.
I was talking to somebody in here this morning about our industry. And I was telling her that it's a weird industry because you see a lot of people who are in it because they just want to be somebody. They want to be a loud voice. They want to be seen. They want to be an influencer. Right. They want to amass this big following on social media. But how many people want to be in this field because they want to create something that's going to feed them for their life, and that's going to feed their family, and that's going to create jobs for other people? How many people in this field view it as that?
Yeah.
and not just like, let me post some sexy videos
And
online
that's
this week.
I took, when I first got into the industry, when I like transitioned from teaching into fitness, I took this course called Steel on the Walls, which is a business course. It was an awesome freaking course, man. It taught you like the true like values of business, like what it means to have like steel in the wall to hold up your fucking business. Because if you have a fucking house that doesn't have steel in the walls, shit's gonna burn down. You know what I mean? But if you actually have like steel pillars like this motherfucker has, like you're gonna be straight. You know what I mean? It might burn the things around it, but you can actually like rebuild it. You know what I mean? So having like those pillars means a lot. So for me, like one of those pillars is like value. Like what's the value you're providing to your business, to the people, and really like dialing into a T on that. You know, like what's the value? Who do you provide that value to? How do you provide that value? How good do you provide that value? You know what I mean? So like whenever I talk to people who are like looking to get into just any space, really, it's all about like, hey man, like be willing to work for free. Definitely do that. Be willing to like shut up and just learn. You know what I mean? Not be seen and just fucking just put in the work. Like just put in the reps. Like for me, like just thinking back like to my journey and like even now, like I love working every day, all day, because it's just reps. And I know like for me, been blessed to like just be pretty good at lacrosse, if you will. So at that standpoint, it's just like I know what got me to be pretty good at lacrosse. And from there, it's just like, okay, now that that time is done, now that I've accepted that that time is done, let's do the same exact thing and fucking turn it up when it comes to coaching. So like, let's restart the process. And it comes just like, hey, for me, just got to like learn, put in the reps. You're not going to be good until probably the tail end of it. But it's like put in the reps, man. Like the more you put in the reps, the better you're going to be. And that just comes with like, along with that, what kind of reps are you putting in? I tell my athletes all the time, like, yeah, we could sit here and fucking pound the wall all day. And like we talked about in training camp, like cut some throats. And it's like, the fuck is this lazy shit? Like I just sat here and watched you guys do this for like this long. Like I'll have a video sometimes and it's like, this is what I saw. Like now y'all get to see it. And everyone's just like, oh shit, like I can't believe. And I'll call everyone up, I'm like, yo, what'd you see here? What'd you see here? And like, oh, I was lazy here, lazy here. I'm like, all right, cool. So like hitting the wall is not it. Like hitting the wall is not it. It's how you hit the fucking wall. And that all comes back to like, I often go to the cemetery, visit my mom, just have conversations about like life. And like one day I got fucking tight at myself. Cause I'm just like, damn, bro, I'm out here coaching lacrosse. And like a lot of things translate to like life every single day. And it's just like, yo, make the adjustment. When you see you miss the net, make the adjustment. When you see something's not going the right way, make the adjustment. When it comes down to like just trying to be good at something, hit the wall. But also, how you hit the wall matters. Now, you can't just sit there and be lazy with it. You're going to fucking get lazy results and not be good for a long time. But if you like, yo, like send it and like really focus on like the small details, heavy to a certain extent, and like just rep out those small things, get great at them, and like just keep expanding, that's how you get great. You know what I mean? And at that point, just like keep doing those things. And a lot of people don't want to accept that when they're getting into the industry. It's like those small things and like, it's for me,
because you're not getting rewarded every day for those small actions. That's where people fall off.
It's dividend work. I like to say it always pays dividends. Like I'm like the dopest thing. My best friend right now, shout out BM Shoes. My best friend right now is going through like he's starting his own business, which is dope, doing well. Like he's growing, and he's literally faster than I am, which is like the goal. Cause I'm like kind of like coaching him through it. He's going through like almost everything I've been through, and like it's been like the, yo man, I don't know if this is for me. Like the yo, I'm not making enough money. Like the yo, like I'm like kind of like not gonna get to a certain spot when it comes down to like paying bills. I'm just like, hey man, like dope, you're on the right journey. Like stay consistent, and I promise you, like there's a time where like he went from like a full-time job to like transitioning into like entrepreneurship.
That's so well said though. All those feelings, like, am I doing it right? Is this really what I should be doing? Am I gonna pay the bills?
Yeah.
You're gonna feel those.
100%.
That's okay.
Yeah, 100%. And that just comes down to like, hey, like that's the pressure you need to have to like, we were talking about like, yo, it always comes down to like, yo, at that point, if this shit fails, guess who it's on, big dog? It's on you. Like he had a great job before, and there was times where like I was coming to him talking about the same shit. Like, yo, fam, I don't know, bro. I don't know if I'm gonna do it. I don't know if it's for me, man. Like I'm working these long hours, not really getting paid like that. Like, yada yada yada. And like now, like here he is in the other tail end, like going through his thing, and I'm kind of like in a good spot. Like I'm feeling like pretty solid, pretty comfortable in my position. and able to like kind of coach him through like, hey man, like you're gonna go through that, but the most important part, like we just talked about, provide value to your people, figure out what works, figure out what doesn't work, and continue to make the adjustment. And at that point, you're gonna figure out like what works, stay consistent, let that be like what drives the value, pays the bills, if you will, and continue just to make the adjustment. Like for me, to the business side of this thing, like it's kind of a sport, you know what I mean? Like
It's 100% a sport.
Figuring out like what works, figuring out what doesn't.
It's my sole competitive outlet now in life is
And
business.
Yeah, and from an athlete, it's a dope. Like from an athlete perspective, it's dope because like you get to like just look at, you could say certain metrics, figure out like we always say like what works, what doesn't, how can I adjust, how can I tweak. Then from there, like I like to see obviously the reward, like how well am I doing based on like a few things. For me, like how many to a certain extent, how many people are coming to the door, and then at that point, like obviously how many dollars are we making, and then from there also, I like my biggest thing is like truly how much progress are you making? Because like I could have people come in the door all day and make no progress, but like yo, like how much progress are you making? So like it's always like values in like the business, but also like values in like the approach to like how you like, get the thing done, you know? So for me, helping people who are on the journey of self-employment / entrepreneurship, like that's it. You gotta provide values, gotta provide value, gotta find like those like the steel in the walls, which is like the pillars that make your business. And at that point, like focus on just building. Like don't worry about making anything for the first like 3 to 6 months, if you will. Like obviously like you need to make money, so fucking like do your best to like charge respectable rates to like make ends meet. You might have to get like a little part-time job at first, but keep the main thing. That's like the most important part. Like don't, like I've been through it. Like I've Ubered heavy enough to the point where, like I'm damn near falling asleep in a session, and you're just like, not it. Like not it. Like, I'm not giving 100% to my people, and at that point, you gotta cut back on something. You know what I mean? So like you gotta find that balance, but also make sure like you're getting those needs met. You might have to, like for me, fuck it. Like you might have to miss some bills. You know what I mean? Like you might have to sacrifice some shit, and that's okay. Because at the other end of it, like as an athlete, like you want to be great, right? So it's like, if you want to be fucking great, go ahead and get it. Like, my grandma taught me. She's from the South. Might not be the best on this side of the tracks, but like, it's the worst. It's the worst. But like, when it comes to like paying bills, you know what I mean? It's like, what are they gonna do? Like,
Shout out to your grandma.
That's great.
like, what are they gonna do? Like, you know what I mean? And like, that's obviously not the lesson to live by, but to a certain extent, when it comes down to it, my friends, it's just like, yo, like you got to understand, like, yo, do I pay like the insurance this month? Do I pay the car note? Which one do I got to choose between that? Do I pay the rent? You know what I mean? So it's just like, well, rent costs more. Okay. The car company, how long until they take my car? All right, we can make that work. You know what I mean? So you got to do some things sometimes. So it's just like, but also, like on the back end, like make sure you continue to put in work, you know? And for me, it's like I've been through that. I'm not ashamed to fucking say it because like we're here now. Like, hey, Deion Sanders, we're fucking here now. You know
He's
what I
so
mean?
cool to watch, Coach,
That's
right
my-
now.
that's my
You
guy.
agree?
He's the man.
That's my guy. So at that point, it's just like I really enjoyed like being able to like go through like that grind and like the opportunity to simply like I won't say sacrifice, but sacrifice some things. Go through the uncomfortable times. Even like when I was in Florida, like go through like the uncomfortable times to figure out like and it's like you want to be the best. So like you're gonna keep putting in the work to be the best. So like if things aren't going well or right or like feeling right, like yo, make the adjustment. If they're going right, stay consistent. You know what I mean? Like, and it might not be fucking like everything's going right, so you're making a ton of money right away, but it might be like, yo, I'm hitting on something's like consistent. Like
Right.
how can I like continue to like expand upon that thing? And like at that point, like when I first started, it went from like literally my schedule went from like, hey, I'm open between 7 to like 10 every hour on the money, like classes, fucking every hour. Didn't get a single person, and I'm just like, all right, like I'm open, I'm having classes. Why is no one coming? And it's just like, okay, like that's not it. So like I had to like boil that down to like, hey, like my mentor is just like, yo, man, like maybe offer just like instead of like every hour, offer 1 hour and just try to fill that as best as possible. I'm just like, but yeah, I'm not gonna make as much money. And then we talked about like, yeah, but if you like we talked about the business side of like instead of you charging like one person $25 for like one person every hour $25 versus having 1 hour where fucking you have let's say 10 people where you charge $25. What's more important, money or time? And then we go to the time and money aspect of like, well, I do like to live. I do have family. I do have a dog. I do have like I just want to live, eat. You know, I mean, eating's fun, sleeping's fun. I also be able to do those things. Like it makes sense to like say, hey, like let's cut down on some hours so I can do some of these things. You know, maybe like charge a little bit more so I can get that back. So like time versus money aspect really means a lot. So like when it comes down to like being young in it, like you have to sacrifice time. You know what I mean? But like when it comes down to like growing and growing and growing, you can start cutting that stuff down. You know what I mean? So like it wasn't from like I didn't go from like 10 to 1. I went from like, okay, here's like 10 hours. Well, honestly, it was like, okay, I need to get adults in the morning time. And at that point, I need to do athletes in the afternoon just to like get coaching, get my name out there, get the reps. And at that point, still trying to figure out what I wanted to do. So just boiling it down, I'm like, okay, I like the adult side, but I really like the athlete side. This is based on like what I do. Me being a teacher, it's like kind of like where I'm at with things. So I'm just like, okay, like how can we shift the gifts, shift the value to like, I got a fucking degree in education and also fucking have like a background at that point in like physical education and doing a lot as far as like strength and conditioning with like my lacrosse team back in college. So I'm just like, hey man, like how can we continue to like narrow this thing down? And it's like, oh, strength and conditioning instead of like HIIT, like just that switch of like philosophy is different. And that switched my approach to coaching. But then it started to switch my approach to like, okay, do I want to do this with adults or do I want to do this with athletes more? And so I was just like, how can I tell the adults I just want to train athletes, and, like for them to like get me their kids? And then it just like kept just boiling it down. On the other side of like just learning more. And then here we are. So like I have one adult athlete on my schedule, but he's like an athlete who is he's going to go to boot camp for court officer. So being a court officer for New York State. And it's like a 4-month boot camp. So we've been going through like training camps all year, if you will. So I kind of consider him like an athlete just based on like what they have to go through. So at that point, it all comes down to I enjoy working with adults, but I really want to just continue to work with athletes at the time that I work with athletes and like keep my days open so I can like continue to enjoy my like life with my grandma who's 97. Shouts to grandma.
Shouts to grams,
and
man.
my dog.
Hey, what are they gonna do about it? Is that the same grams?
Yeah, straight. And yeah, really just enjoy time because like I was telling my friend like, yo, like we're talking about the bangs, like, man, like probably like a 2-year window of like a lot of like overnight Ubers. Like literally, like there was days where I'm like literally like, yo, man, like we lost a few years off this one. Like I'm like straight and like kind of sad about it. Cause I'm just like, yo, I not know it, but like, dude, there's no way this is good for you. Like not sleeping. And drinking these freaking
Copious
energy
amounts
drinks.
of caffeine.
Like I would try to have like dinner before I'd go out, but then like just eating like kind of like trash food on the road. I mostly ended up just like drinking, like just eating like combos, like those freaking like
Oh,
whatever.
like the pretzel-y things?
Yeah.
Pizza flavored?
And then like I was a big peanut guy for a little bit, like you know what I mean, decent.
Yeah.
But those just got peanutted. Like you can only eat so many peanuts.
Yeah.
And that just got just annoying. So like just had to switch it up. But yeah, I went through like 2 years of just straight grind mode. You know what I mean? So like being able to respect my time now is like something I had to learn after like just like having the 9 to 5, then going to entrepreneurship, self-employment route. And from there being able to understand, like we talked about, like the time versus money aspect, like what means the most. And then being able to understand, like for me, kind of like what allows the business to flourish. And I was looking at our conversation for today, just thinking about like what KPIs drive the business. Like for me, it's just like progress. It's pretty much it. And that comes down to fucking like how much like your coaching. Like so how good of a coach you are is gonna dictate the progress of your athletes, which is gonna dictate, like for me, I think you might have told me this, like word of mouth. It's like that's the biggest thing. And even like my mentor in my first gym, like old guy. Like this dude, he trained, which is crazy. Kind of like, I won't say annoying, but he trained a lot of like great D1 athletes, and his style of training is wild.
Like stuff you would never do.
Fam, never. And like we were in the same gym, and it's just like we're out here doing like what we do, and he's over here doing like a mixture of like high intensity fucking P90X fucking. Shouts to my guy. I'm not gonna call him out, but shouts to him. But even he was just like early on in business when I was like going around trying to fucking put flyers on cars and like call it boots on the ground. Golly, boots on the ground. I was going for like trying to go door to door in the plaza, saying, "Hey, this is who I am. This is what I do. Like, come in, give you a free session, yada yada yada." He was like, "Hey, man, want to know the best kind of advertisement? No advertisement." He's like, "Be a great fucking coach." I'm just like, "But I don't got no one to coach." And then fucking this one day came by where I was out like doing like fucking boots on the ground advertisement, and an athlete came by, one of my first athletes. And then I came back. He was like, "Hey, someone stopped in. Fucking numbers on the desk." He was like, "Back in my day, back in my day, that would have been my fucking athlete. But I know you don't got anyone, so here, give him a fucking call." Shout out my guy Xavier Lopez. That's my fucking guy. Baller, Albany Academy, killing it. It's my fucking guy. And that was like my first athlete ever. Cause I was like, and like at that point, it was just like literally, and he was always talking to me about like, "Yo, man, just fucking be here. Like you have a business." Like thankfully it was in a plaza, like a great spot. Like I won't say not like this spot, but like you have to fucking like know the spots at, if you will. So like we were in a plaza. So like people just like walk by. And it was like just a grandfather, like just walking by, saw fucking Fortitude Sports Performance. He was like, "Hey, you got a grandson, yada yada." And I wasn't there. He was like, "I told you to fucking just be here. Like you're in a plaza, people are gonna fucking walk in just cause like you're here." You know, people in Delmar are fucking very ambitious people who want to see what's going on. So at that point, just be there. You know, and like at that point, you're gonna get your interest. You know what I mean? Give them something for free, add value right away, and then go from there. And the rest is history.
This episode of Off Exit 10 is brought to you by Drink Alchemy. Fatigue and brain fog affect us all, destroying everything we pursue. Whether as an athlete, artist, creator, or entrepreneur, our mind holds the key to performing optimally. By combining the most potent organic nootropics found in nature, Drink Alchemy delivers sustainable boost to creativity, memory, energy, and focus in one epic beverage. Stop pumping your body full of excessive amounts of caffeine and unknown proprietary blends from other energy drinks, and get clean energy from Drink Alchemy's natural nootropics like lion's mane, L-theanine, and caffeine from green tea. Used by Olympians, D1 athletes, MMA fighters, and entrepreneurs, Drink Alchemy has become a huge part of my daily routine, making sure I'm functioning optimally during long days of coaching athletes, running CDSF, and getting in quality workouts myself. So do yourself a favor and ditch the energy drinks loaded with caffeine, other stimulants, and who knows what else, and head over to drinkalchemy.com today. Live with your mind unbound and save 10% off your order by using code CDSF at checkout. That's drinkalchemy.com, promo code CDSF for 10% off your order today.
Yeah, I mean, being present is definitely something that speaks volumes to, like, if you're there, people walk in, they're gonna find you.
100%.
You know, it's a lot easier to do that than it is for you to spend endless hours with your boots on the ground out there trying to advertise for yourself. That was something as a head trainer at New York Sports Club in New York City, I told like any new trainer, I was like, just be here all the time. Be here all the time. People will then see you, and then people will then ask you questions, and then people will then sign up with you. I'm like, you're not going to get any business if you're not here.
Right.
And they were like, "You're right." I was like, I don't care if you're 4 hours or 15 hours. I'm like, be here for 25, be here for 30. Like,
Yeah, because how you get better, you're right, is reps of coaching people. Reps and reps and reps. And yeah, quality coaching reps, gee, yeah, like you can make that a KPI.
And sorry to cut you off. Go ahead.
Oh, the more quality coaching reps you have, dude, the better everything's going to be.
100%. I was going to say a huge part, too, is personal development. So you got to realize, like, when it comes down to, like, who you are, the people you're trying to attract, you know? Like, obviously, like, I'm an athlete, cool. I can, like, just possibly from look attract other athletes, but also just having the ability to, like, start a conversation, tell them, like, who you are, what you do, who you're with. Like, that's very important, you know? So it's being able to, like, develop yourself into a person that, like we talked kind of about earlier, like my mentor said, like, yo, don't bring something into the gym you wouldn't want or recommend to your athletes. Like, also, like, be someone your athletes want to kind of be like, you know? So having the chance to kind of, like, develop your person and personality into, like, I came from a college lacrosse captain at that point. So I was in, like, my goal in high school through like high school into college was to go be a Marine officer. So I was going to go to OCS, the Marine Corps. Like, that was, like, fam, that was it. Like, that was, like, yo, I'm only going to college to play lacrosse. I'm going to get a degree because I'm at college. And we're going to the Marine Corps. Like, that's it. I'm going to be fucking special ops. Like, the rest is history. And at that point, I was, like, just gung-ho on, like, just, like a different style of coaching, like leadership at that point in time, if you will. like Marine Corps style. Like that's literally back in the YouTube days, like the OG YouTube days. That's like what I would watch 100%. Like a lot of SEAL videos, like how they would go through like.
Kids don't know about the OG Kimbo Slice days.
Kimbo Slice
Oh my
days.
goodness, backyard brawls. Yeah, I got yeah. And that's like just how I got. Like I've asked kids when I was in Florida, like, hey man, like you guys.
Jay, find a Kimbo Slice video right now.
I was like, hey guys.
You just want the audio?
I want to watch it. Spin it around. I want to see a couple punches thrown.
Oh man, rest in peace to Kimbo.
Rest in peace.
But just being able to have the ability to like go to YouTube, study something, and just go in the backyard and like have no other like distractions, like that was it, man. Kids are missing out on that. Where are we going? I got stuck on Kimbo Slice.
I was just thinking about Kimbo Slice videos too. I don't know. Oh,
We're talking about personal
You were
growth,
talking
something
about like
wanting to go into the Marine Corps.
like
yeah,
the
yeah.
leadership side
yeah,
of
yeah.
things, and like how like a different style of coaching and all that kind of stuff.
Gotcha. So like at first, like coming out of college, I was like just pretty much based on like where I wanted to go into OCS. I literally like went through the whole process of I forgot, it's been so damn long. Like application, going through screening.
Oh, you went that far.
Yeah, I was like in it, and then fucking I had too many tattoos.
Stop.
So not even too many. The rule is
That can't be a thing still, is
no,
it?
it's not. Which I'm
Bullshit.
hey, everything happens for a reason, like we talked about.
Right.
But like, and like literally, I told myself when I became an All-American in college, that's when I can get a lacrosse tattoo. So I became an All-American. I think it might have been my second year when I became an All-American. And then at that point, I was like, all right, like let's get tatted up, let's do it. Literally, they're just like, hey, if you have a tattoo on your leg bigger than your like hand or your palm at that
Comes up
point in
with that
time,
fucking rule anyways.
like you can't, like we can't take you, fam. My calf tat on my leg is my lacrosse tattoo, and like the lacrosse stick out, and like for me, like that was like a sign at that point, like okay, like lacrosse is meant to be like my thing, like to like really like focus on, because like literally two different paths. Like Marine Corps, it's like, yo, we're slinging guns, slinging lead, like living a different life.
If that tattoo was a little smaller, you may be in the Marine Corps.
No, there's no may. I'm there.
You're there.
Fam. I'm like, for me, like we talked about like just being the best. Like I was blessed to like be a 2-time All-American. So like, yo, we were the best in college lacrosse. We've accomplished that first goal. Like that was the goal since I started playing lacrosse. I could just be the best. And at that point, like the country said I was the best. Dope. Fire. Now it's just like, yo, like now let's go special ops. Like let's like in college, I was always like telling my my fucking guys like, yo, like that's my goal. You know what I mean? So like when I left, like that was the mission. Unfortunately, like it didn't happen. You know what I mean? But I was definitely going for sure. But like just literally going through the process, they told me like it wasn't a go. But long story short, like my style was a lot different back then as far as like coaching, leading a group of grown ass men in college, you know, who fucking do way too much. Yeah. Shout out to Auto Lacrosse. But yeah, I was definitely a different leader back then. So I had to tell myself, hey man, when it comes down to leading these high school students, we got to dive really into your teaching bag a lot different, like teaching bag heavy. And then from there, just be a lot different in like your leadership approach, which is different than like teaching. So I got to like at that point dive into like leadership, how to lead, how to get the best out of someone, and then from there like take that into the weight room and then just like pour, see how it works. I kind of talked about it last podcast, but like had the chance to go down in Florida and go from like a micro coaching level to then coaching on a macro level for like a high school team, Boca Raton Lacrosse. We won a state chip, or no, district chip, District 2A championship 2022. And for me, that was like right after I spent so many reps just like learning leadership and like how to get the best out of someone. And now for me at that point, I was like, yo, the creator put me in position to see what you're made of. Like, yo, see if you can actually take a group of men with this different style of leadership and bring them to victory. And literally, it was their first, like, hey, they were raw when I first got there. I got there late. I got there 3 weeks into the actual season. So like no preseason, no nothing. And at that point, I was just like, all right, at that point I had to like reset the coaches a little bit. We had to talk about like, hey, like expectations, you know what I mean? Like it starts with us. Like it really starts with us from the top down. Then at that point, like we gotta lay the foundation. So like then diving into like taking my strength conditioning principles of like, hey man, like this is the end goal. phase 1, day 1, like passing and catching, because these dudes can't pass and catch. So we can't run an offense, damn near can't score a goal, like on purpose if dudes can't pass and catch. And like for me, just been blessed to like just know what the hell we're doing. We got to break it all the way down. So at that point, it's broke all the way down, built the guys all the way up. Long story short, won a 2A chip, district chip, and that was a blessing in itself. And that told me like, hey man, like to a certain extent, you know what you're doing at this level. So let's go ahead and take it to the next level and go back on up to the north and get it done.
Yeah, man. Did you find a Kimbo video?
Mm.
Give us. It's been 20 years since I've seen one of these.
He was in the UFC too.
Yeah, he had a couple fights. Yeah, what one is
This
this?
better be the original. Oh, this is like the original. This is like the first one I saw.
I mean, these are just raw, dude.
Yeah, backyard. I think he was from Florida too. If I'm
I think he's
mistaken.
a
Yeah.
Florida guy.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. I mean, didn't he play football? Did he play football at Miami, or is that like a myth?
I don't know.
I
I'm
don't
sure you
think
could find
I
it
don't
if you
think he
did.
played football.
Whatever his real name is. Shouts to Kimbo.
Yeah, these are crazy. Kids could pull these up and look. I don't know. This was like when I think of original YouTube, like
That's it. That's what you would look at. You would hear about like, yo, who's that guy? You didn't hear Homeboy? Let me show you real quick. And then you show. He's like, yo, this is wow.
they'd
That's
be like,
crazy.
yo, he like knocked this one guy's eye out in this video.
Yo,
And we're
there's
like,
oh man, yeah, there's a wild world back then. Yeah, the internet's crazy.
He did have an athletic scholarship to the U.
to the U.
Did he actually play that? Like,
I don't
not
know if he actually
play.
played. It says for college he attended both Bethune-Cookman University and the University of Miami, where he had held an athletic scholarship and studied criminal justice.
Shouts
He was
Kimbo.
there for a year and a half. He tried out for the Miami Dolphins in '97 and was part of the preseason squad, but did not make a spot on the first team.
Shouts Kimbo, man. Legend.
Shout out to
Legend.
Kimbo Slice, man.
That's beauty.
Yeah, that's a wild place. So what do you have queued up right now? You're gonna have off-season training camps. Is that correct?
Yeah. So I'm just thinking about the conversation. Yeah, we got. So right now, like I'm just in like a lull period. So this is like I'm still in like year 1 of just experimenting, getting the reps of like the training camp between the training camp. 'Cause like for me, I guess like the format that I'm looking for is to be able to like run the training camp. You know what I mean? Like I like to say I'm blessed to have athletes that have camps like you guys to come train through like all year round, just fire. It's like, hey, go do your thing. You know what I mean? And like when it gets like that time for I call it like a fall 2 training camp, we'll go ahead and knock that out. We got that starting October 23rd, and that's going to run until the second to last week of December. It's going to be an 8-week training camp, and that's just going to be just like an intro into our preseason training camp. It's going to start January, the first week. That's what I have queued up. So like there's a gap between like each training camp. So like right now we're kind of in that gap. I've had, I guess I won't say the annoying part about like making the adjustment between summer and fall. It's just like the scheduling. But like I've been blessed to grow again, so it's awesome. However, time stays the same. So it's just like school limits time. So we start at 3 for like most of the athletes, then go until 8 to 9 for some athletes. And at that point, I wanted to do mostly just personal training because I really enjoy working one-on-one with athletes and like really understanding the athlete and like getting the most out of them and like doing that for until you get that scholarship, to be honest with you, because that's what I'm in it for, just being honest. And at that point, it's just like I love the one-on-one. I really do, whether it's like other athletes missing out a little bit. Like I was kind of torn on it because like my one mentor said like, hey man, like the group is more important than the one. The many is more important than the few. So at that point, I'm just like, all right, we gotta do something like between this gap. Because I've had like a ton of people like just reach out and say, hey man, like looking to do like PT or just looking to do some sort of training. So at that point, it's like, all right, I don't want to like disvalue my training camp and just like put out like just like a random ass like group. I don't like the randomized groups where people just like. For me, I think those are like kind of like just
Well, I
money
think as you
sucks, if
build
will.
a training camp and people start to, you're developing the product and people start to know, hey, this is Alex's product and I love what it's about.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, you don't want to devalue what that product is, what that
100%.
service is.
Right. So like for me, I just wanted to like go like underground for a little bit for like a few weeks until the next one. But then the amount of people hit me up, I was like, you know what? Like let's just go ahead and like do like an open gym style. I was really trying to like think of like, yo, what kind of value can I provide to the people that's like not as like commitment based, if you will, like not as serious, but still the ability to like train properly. You know what I mean? Not just come in randomly, randomly to a certain extent. So I'm just like, okay, like an open gym style, I guess we can do. Would kind of work well. So now for the next 5 weeks, if you're counting this week, we're doing like an open gym Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. Just pretty dope. Athletes coming in. I was gonna go. For me, it's just more of like a speed development and skill development. So we're just going through, kind of like a phase 1 through 4, to be honest. Just going just phase 1, going through week 1 through 4. I was going through like speed development, getting them where they need to be. So when I see them like into our fall 2 training camp, a lot of them are looking a lot better, which is pretty cool. But it's also showing me that like a lot of these athletes just want to continue training. So I got to provide that value or that like system that's going to allow them to keep training in between the training camps. Because for me, that's like what I'm really looking forward to doing and building like the brand, the business off of like having those 3 training camps a year, developing freaking great athletes from all over the place, you know, and then from there, turning it up. So I guess queued up for the rest of the year. This is the open gym, our fall 2 training camp, and then just preparing for the preseason.
Yeah, man. How do you choose what music you play in the gym?
Honestly, I like no music in the gym.
Like just we getting after it.
Yeah. So like we were talking earlier about like the setup of the gym. I purposely didn't put like a sitting area in my gym this time.
That's smart. I don't want parents lingering.
Fam.
Fuck that.
So
We used to have a couch over there. As you see, there's just no couch over there.
I had in my first gym we had like a big one.
Yeah.
And like at that point in time we're trying to grow. So like I enjoy the parents politicking, you know what I mean? But it's also like I don't got time to politic. And now like I got like athletes like just from a teaching perspective like always see, you know what I mean? So like I got athletes behind me doing whatever. I'm talking to you. You know when I gotta be with them.
I got your kids back there.
Yeah.
You pay me right now to help
Facts. And then from there I'm just like, all right, next gym, no sitting area. Like, yo, just let the kids come in, do what they do.
Yes,
like we'll talk when we gotta talk on the phone.
Great
like,
idea.
We could set up a time to like really just talk on the phone. To be honest, it's like what I do mostly now. Some parents might stop in. I might catch them before a session, in between a session still, which is cool. Hey, it's cool. You know what I mean? It's dope. Fire. Keep doing it if we need to. You know what I mean? I will say, respectively, this has been eating at my heart. I'm a hard guy to reach. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a very hard guy to reach. No, we'll get to music in a second. I'm a very hard guy to reach.
It's okay.
Cause like, I'm coaching all day, every day, right? I start in the morning too. So like I'll start at 5 in the morning. I'll coach my athlete for a good amount of time. And then like I'll go home and just help my grandma, enjoy that time, do my dog. And then business. Like really just doing business and programming. Like it's like I won't say almost every day, but pretty much every day. And then from there, like even like here, it's a half-hour drive. My phone call was 40 minutes. So it's just like if I talk to one parent, like there goes my free time. You know what I mean? I was trying to listen to Downey's podcast on the way up here.
Shout out to Downey. I was telling Jordan that you've known Downey since when? Since were
literally day one. That's my guy. And I'm kind of tight. Breen wore the Amsterdam hoodie because Downey gave me his hoodie. I was gonna swag it here today too to get the flick. Shouts Breen. To give you guys a little surprise. Like I know a little thing or two. But I was tight. I'm like I saw he wore it. I'm like God dang it.
Breen.
But yeah. So long story short, parents. Hard to reach, but definitely reach out because I'll get to you. A part of it is too, like I've been blessed to have parents reach out and I always get their kids in, which has been pretty dope. Recently it's been kind of tough because like I'm just like there's not enough hours in the day, so I'm trying to figure out like I said, between the training camps, like what system can I use to get more athletes in? So like I don't like responding and not having an answer.
Do you have in your head a plan where you're like, I hire person number 2?
Fam, I've been trying to do that not trying to. I haven't done a goddamn thing to do that. Like,
I've been trying backtrack. I haven't done a goddamn thing for this, but it's been brewing in my brain.
I've talked about it to like multiple people. For me, the I get excited talking about it. The goal is to like hire like an S&C, like another S&C. So at that point, I can do just more of the skill stuff, but also so like I can have. I'm taking this from my mentor Phil DeRue. Being able to like I won't say choose the athletes I'm trying to work with, but like having the ability to like really tap in with like certain athletes to a certain extent. You know what I mean? Because like, hey, there's only one of me. You know what I mean? And like, right now everyone wants to work with me, but like it's like a lot of athletes need to start like developing themselves first as an athlete. So if I can have like an S&C to like just develop the athlete side, and also me too, like to like have them shadow me first, like hey, this is what we do, this is how we've done it. You know what I mean? Like definitely help us build. You know what I mean? But like kind of show them how we do things, how we've gotten things done. Have them like then start taking like the S&C side, and I'll continue to work with like the athletes I want to, but still dive more into the skill side. That's kind of like my goal, is to have like a true S&C like doing their thing, killing that side of things, and then for me taking the skill side. The nerve-wracking thing, I just built it. So like bringing someone in, I guess like for me honestly it's the exit of that person, and like you shouldn't think about that obviously, but like for me it's just the exit, because like I don't want, like I've said this a lot recently, like you could have two, or like in the airport you have rental car companies next to each other, they're all thriving, they're all in business, so like that doesn't really matter at all if like a person leaves and like takes some people, but I don't want to like have someone come in.
But what I feel, your fear is what? Somebody leaves and then they're replicating you?
Yeah.
People, if you're good at what you do, and we speak like how we speak right now because we're honest, open people, people are going to try to replicate you, but they're not you.
Yeah.
They're not everything you told us about,
Right.
how you created your space and how it feels and how much thought you put into it. Bro,
Right.
Sure, good fucking luck trying to do everything I just did.
Yeah, no,
that's what I think.
Well, and I also think if you do get somebody, like the idea is that you're getting somebody that wants to be a part of it.
100, and that's
and build it with you, and not get somebody that's just there for a stepping stone.
That's like me trying to figure out like how do I go about finding someone, or like what is the process of trying to like find someone who like, hey man, like hey, and also it's just like we talk about the process of, you know what I mean, getting to being able to pay bills. Let's go there.
Yeah, that's real.
So like to a certain extent, I want to have you walk in and me hand you some loot and be like, yo, like I get it, but also I get it. You're not gonna fucking just come in here and like just start like whatever. Like you're gonna sit here for like a few months.
Yeah.
And like I was talking to my mentor about like doing like a mentorship program that builds into like you actually working here.
I think that's smart. That stresses me. We've had interns in the past, but like we don't have a formal intern program. That stresses me because it's known like, dude, there's not gonna be a job at the end of this.
Yeah,
you know, I'm here to help you get better. You're gonna learn, but like that's not gonna be the case. Yeah, the hiring your second person and your third and your it's stressful. It's needed. I ripped that band.
It's like a new layer. And that's what I'm kind of nervous about too, to be honest. Like it's a new look. Cause like, hey, like I said, I'm hard to reach. It's already kind of busy. That's a new layer. Cause now it's just like it's like, hey, here's like the like 60 plus athletes, but also here's a dude or dude. I honestly want a girl S&C.
Dude,
if you're,
shout out.
Any girl S&Cs out there?
Good luck.
Hey.
Reach out to Alex. Reach out to us. Cause, yeah, we feel the same way.
If you have interest in the S&C field or just like want it, like yo, I want to change it up and give like my girl some flavor, and just like yo, just change the energy in the place. Cause like, and granted, like some girls like a dude coach, which is fire. But also like,
no, it's good to have a female coach. Dude,
yeah,
100%.
So like, I definitely want to like aim to like get a female coach and to turn things up a little bit. I think it'll be dope as hell. But yeah, man, like part of it's just like a new layer of like, yo, like this person has responsibility over like the brand a little bit, and like I don't want them to like misrepresent the brand.
Yeah, you now are gonna wear a manager hat. That's unavoidable. You're now gonna think about what this person is doing. That's unavoidable.
Right.
It's a step to help grow for sure, but it's a step.
But like, but I feel like there's some steps back to take some steps forward on that one.
Yeah, there's steps back financially, and there's steps back with your time. I ripped that Band-Aid off right away. When I went in, I could have went into the business solo when I moved back here from Boston. And I shout out to Mike Reinhold. He's one of my biggest mentors. He owns a place, Champion Physical Therapy and Performance outside of Boston. And I talked to him a lot about, you know, what your life is like if you do a solo right away versus with a partner. And I had my wife, and we were moving back, and we were starting to talk about having a kid. So I went into it, and I brought in Dan, who was my friend from college, who was working at Vent in the area. And I paid him right away. And I didn't pay myself. I didn't start paying myself until we opened in June of 2018. I didn't start paying myself until right before COVID. And then COVID hit, and then the fucking stimulus stuff was like, all right, we'll give you like half of your paycheck. And I was like, bro, I barely was taking a paycheck.
50 cents?
Like, what's this going to be for me?
Golly.
So it's that. It's the scale of like, well, yeah, it's less money into my pocket. But to me, every time it's less money into my pocket, it's more money into the business and growing the business. So then, maybe it's less money for me for a year. But then over 3 years is more money for me.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, it's also like the time thing you talked about before too.
Yeah.
Like time for you to be able to focus on other parts of the business, focus on other parts of your life.
I was gonna say,
you know,
life is
like,
important.
So like it not only is it gonna
because
allow you that.
Paul sees the scale here. Paul helps with the scale here, the most in terms of scheduling and how we schedule on coaches and how we see X number of people an hour. How do you view it? It's a time management thing.
It's all about like time management. Like how can you maximize? Like, there was a point where 3 of us were here in the morning from 9 to 12, and there's 3 fucking people coming in the door.
Right.
Like, why did 3 of us have to be here?
Yeah.
Like, okay, 2 of us can be here, so 1 person can focus on business stuff, 1 person can coach, and the 3rd person can take that time now for themselves to go do something. Whether it's errands they have to run, spend time with their kid.
Right.
Spend time with their significant other, whatever it is. Now they have that little bit of extra time to do that. Or if they have other business things that they want to get done for the business, like now they can do that, whether it's writing programs or, whatever it is. So it's all about just maximizing, like, if you do bring somebody in, what's the purpose behind it?
Yeah.
And what is where do you need them? Like where?
How's it going to free up? How's it going to free up you,
and
then better the business?
Right. So if you want an S&C that's going to be focused on like that, so that you can focus more on the skills, you need somebody that's going to be able to be there during those camps. You're going to need somebody that's going to be there during those open gym hours
100%.
and whatnot. And then that way you can take either time to focus on those individual athletes that you want to focus on, or business stuff that you don't need to focus on during that S&C time. And now that second hour, that's more the skill-based stuff. You can just go to that. And now this guy can focus on the business side of things.
100%.
So,
yeah, it's a lot of delegating
It
roles, and
that for me, like that came from like my background as like a manager in retail. It's like, okay, I got to maximize my floor hours with people here when I know it's busy.
Right.
And when it's not busy, I'm running the store by myself. I don't need somebody else here. Like I can handle this without, and that's obviously a different realm, but it's like,
yeah, but that's what you've done here with our staffing.
That's where for me, it's like, yeah, like, and then figuring out, when we hire a part-time guy, where can we fit his hours in within what we're allowed, what we can pay him,
right?
With the hours that we have, like to give him and whatnot.
I guess like for you, you had like Mike. You had Dan at first. And, like you guys like knew each other. How did you guys know each other? Like from
I've known Paul since I was in elementary school. We grew up together.
So it's like you and Downey.
So for me, for me,
I tried to get him fucking in a few times.
For me, we're gonna finish this combo and then wrap it up. People are coming to the gym in like 13 minutes. Gotcha. I didn't realize what time it is.
Yeah, I gotta be.
Oh my god. For me, see, trust is a big thing. I knew Dan prior. I knew Paul prior. Dan on first, Paul on second. Connor, who works here, worked out here. So I knew him.
I'm kind of waiting for that one. One of my athletes to come back.
That could happen.
That'll happen.
That'll happen.
It'll happen.
Connor worked out here, so I knew him. I trusted him. Boom. Trust is big.
Right.
And then Matt Pierce worked out here. I knew him. I trusted him.
Yeah.
So yeah, the trust is huge.
I'll never forget the day we were looking at Pierce, because I was over there with Dan. We were like, it was kind of like in that moment that you're in now, where you're super busy.
Yeah.
You're trying to figure out.
That's where we sit.
And Mike's like, yo, can you and Dan sit down and try to come up with some ideas? So we were coming up with ideas, and Pierce was here. He was a pitching coach only, and he was in here at lunchtime working out.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting over at Dan's
I think I
desk.
was like, guys, the next 3-4 months are gonna be hell.
Yeah.
Like we gotta figure out. We gotta bring somebody on. We gotta do something.
So then I'm just sitting there, and Dan's facing this way, and I'm facing this way. And I just peek my head around. I'm like, what about right there, Dan? And Dan turns around the corner. He's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, right there, Pierce. And he was like, actually, that's a really good idea. We should ask him. And I was like, yeah, we should. Let's do it. So then that got the ball rolling, and it ended up working out great because he wanted to be a part of the team more. So,
huge.
Yeah, man, it's that. I was gonna say if Downey was more in the strength conditioning or lacrosse field, he might be a good choice. But
I was gonna say, like, even then, like if you're a I'm not gonna put this out there, but only because it was Downey. Like I fuck with baseball heavy. I won't say heavy, but I fuck with baseball. I like it from a skill standpoint. It's dope as hell. So I was like, yo, like I was trying to get him into the S&C side. I'm like, yo, fam,
Yeah.
like we're only gonna keep growing.
Yeah, he
You know
can
what I mean?
coach. He can talk to
Right.
people. It's like those.
You can
And,
definitely talk to
I
people.
was like, if
Yeah.
you like, hey, like fucking, we could be the CDSF of fucking down south. Like fucking, like
Yeah.
you take the baseball side,
Yeah.
fucking like get your people in because like he
God.
works at a location. I won't really shout him out. But
Yeah,
he works at a location for baseball. I'm just like, yo, don't take those clients, but like I know you have the ability to fucking like get clientele.
Mhm.
So it's just like whether it's them or because they want to come with you, or whether it's fucking like this new clientele that like we can easily get from like the Bethlehem area.
Yeah.
Like that would be huge.
And it's, if you know somebody's a good people person, they're a hard worker, they have
Right.
a good emotional intelligence. I'll teach you how to coach a deadlift. I'll teach
Yeah.
you how to coach a sprint.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
easy
Right.
shit.
That's the
Yeah.
easy
You
part.
really can't teach the other things.
Yeah, the values. Like what? Like we gotta have kind of like similar values. Because if you don't value the same shit I value,
Yeah.
it ain't gonna work.
No.
No.
You know what I mean? And
Not
then from there, like it's gonna. I don't want like that energy to radiate. You know what I mean? In the business in front of the athletes. So it's
Yeah.
just like, it's a touchy one, but it has to happen because like I'm at the point now where like I don't want to start losing business because of it.
It's
you
a
know?
good problem to have.
Oh, it's a blessing to have.
It's a great problem to
100%.
have.
And like it's a
We-
like we said, it's a sport, so we got to make the adjustment.
We always remind ourselves when we're in that situation of like, oh shit, we need more space or we need another coach or whatever. Like it's good problems to have.
100%.
Good problems to have.
Yeah,
Yeah.
people have had worse problems. Like I've been through like, yo, how do I get someone? Like yeah, literally, like, how do you get someone in the door? And now it's just like, how do we tell people kind of busy? You know what I mean? But also it's like, how do I hire another coach? Because that's really it. Because like I just want to keep growing, adding value. Can't have that big ass Walmart just me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just like got to start building that thing now.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
man. It seems like you created a great foundation. Yeah, I appreciate you doing this again.
No worries, man. I appreciate you guys. It's been dope.
It's always fun, man. Just plug your stuff, let people know where to find you, and
On Instagram at the.fortitude strength. On Facebook, Alexander Linder. If you are still Facebook, parents out there. Email, you could send that email at at the.fortitude or fortitudestrength@gmail.com. Will not put my number out there.
yeah, don't do that.
But
do
send
that.
me an email. If you go to my website, www.trainfstrength.com, you can fill out the form there. Everything will go through there. Find me. Send me a DM on Instagram. Or look out for our training camp. That will definitely be coming through. Looking forward to touching everybody as best we possibly can. So
Yeah,
appreciate
man.
you guys for the exposure.
Yeah, lacrosse athletes, parents, check out Alex, and shout out to your Grams. What'd she say
Hey.
again? Let's end on that.
Hey, for those people out there, real life, one of those life ones again. Okay, for those folks out there, when you feel like something's going like really wrong and like really bad, and there's an outside force like inflicting that on you, understand, one, you have all the control, and two, what's the worst they can do? That's all it comes down to.
That's it, man. We'll see everybody next time. Thanks, Alex.